that was the first Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, me and 73 million other people. And I don't know how many times I took our dog Buttons for a walk just so I could get out in the air and walk and get some energy off, because it was like, I got up around 6 o'clock in the morning. What teenager gets up at 6 a.m.? But it was like, the radio's on and I'm listening to This Boy. It was the first song I heard on the radio. John singing This Boy. So I got up and I got something to eat. I did some stuff around the house. I got what I was going to wear out. I was getting ready to take the dog out. And I figured I had wasted about 2 hours doing that. Yeah, about 25 minutes. It was like
a long day.
It was a long day. It was like molasses in January. I just couldn't believe. But when it finally came, I got phone calls from all of my girlfriends. Are you going to watch it? I said, no, I'm not. Yeah, hello, right? I've got a 1,000-piece puzzle I'm going to work on, right? And what do you want? Come on, right? So the day went, and I did talk to Shelley and I did talk to Pat, and they were all real excited. Pat loved Paul, and Shelley was Ringo. So we were perfect. We had all different Beatles to love. So anyway, when it was 8 o'clock and Ed Sullivan came on and did his usual one of these things, that whole, with that funny, really big shoe, kind of voice that he had, right? And I just couldn't wait. It was the longest 25 minutes of my lifetime. It was. And when he said, the last 4 words that he said before they were on stage for all of us to see was, let's bring him on, right? And then all these girls are screaming at the Ed Sullivan Theater. And then there they are. I got goosebumps. I just got goosebumps thinking about it. I just did. And it's beautiful. But there they were. And I loved it. When they sang, you got to watch this video again. There's an angle when they were singing. I saw her standing there, and they're all the same height. Ringo was the only short one. They're all the same height, and it was photographed at an angle where you could see they were all bouncing to the same. They were so on with each other without even looking at each other. And George turned just slightly one time, and John and George exchanged these yes kind of smiles.
This is it.
You know what I mean? It was it. They knew it, and I knew it, and 73 million other people knew it, and it was so beautiful. And my father thought, it's ridiculous. They may be good to you, but they're no Glenn Miller. I said, well, maybe Glenn would have been if he was 4 people. My father said, I'm not talking to you. Good night, right? So then, as soon as it was over, the phone was ringing. Oh, absolutely. And then, so I already knew that their first concert, and everybody always says their first concert was Carnegie Hall. It wasn't. The first concert was Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So I asked Shell, right? I said, the tickets are on sale for the Washington, D.C. Coliseum concert. She said, when is it? I said, you know damn well when it is. I said, you want to go? And she said, what are we going to do about school? I said, we don't have to worry about school. It's George Washington's birthday. It was Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Isn't that awful? Anyway, forgive me, Abe, but I think it was. Yeah, because it was the 12th. Yeah, it was Abe Lincoln's birthday. So anyway, that's right. They left right around Washington's birthday. That's why I was confusing these. I got it. So anyway, I said, we don't have school. So
I'm sure Abe wouldn't mind, would he?
Come on, Abe wouldn't care. He would be like, good for you. Power to the people, right? So she said she would. I wasn't so sure it would happen, but we went to a little diner shop kind of place that we used to hang out at. It was like soda shop. The jukebox was probably the biggest thing in there besides the tables. It was a tiny little joint, but it was a great place. So anyway, she told me she wanted to go. So back then, the phone booths, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that stuff. And, but right outside was one of those big, American, like, glass coffins, they used to call them, right, with the phone inside. And she said, what are you doing? I said, they're going to be all sold out, but we don't have to worry because Glassman's ticket agency buys tickets. And what they do is, I found this out like in Beatle magazines and all that stuff from December. I said, so they may say $3.50, but you may pay $1 or something extra. And then I said, we could go down now and go get them. She said, I only had $49. $49 was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
$49 now won't get you, well, I don't know what. A cup of coffee at Starbucks? I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I called and Glassman's was closing within a short amount of time, but we were right by the L. And they were right off the L stop. And I told them where I was. I said, I wanted 2 tickets. And then she's listening to me because the booth was partially open and I wanted her to hear what was going on. And I remember the first time she ever stuttered, she said, you just got tickets, right? So anyway, I let her know. I said, look, if you want to back out, I can always sell this to somebody. I'm not going to be out anything. You missed going to the airport, you miss going to the hotel, you're going to miss their first American concert. Are you nuts? No way. I said, so let's go. So anyway, we went, got the tickets, they were pink, and I said, oh, it's your favorite color, it's a good sign, right? But she was a wreck, wouldn't even take the ticket home. I took it. So we made plans. She lived right off of the Tioga L stop. And I said, I'll meet you at the L stop. She was as flat. This is funny, though. God bless her. She's no longer with us, either is Carol. And anyway, she said, oh, I can't take the ticket home. I can't risk it.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, stuff it in your bra, but you don't really have much to stuff in there anyway, And so anyhow, I said, I'll take it home with me. We'll be cool. So she asked me what I was wearing. I asked her what she was going to wear, and she said, I'm going to wear my plaid A-line skirt, and I'm going to wear my white Peter Pan collar and my sweater, and you know how girls are with this stuff. And I said, very colorful. And I'm thinking the Beatles and all. Beatles in black, right? That, right? So anyway, I said, well, I'll be equally colorful. I am wearing my black skirt, my black leotards, my black turtleneck sweater, my black boots, and my black stadium jacket. She said, that's colorful, you as usual.
Yeah. You spot a theme there.
There you go. So, and really, it was, the ride down was heaven. And I'm sure they were there before we were there, for sure, But the fact was that I'm thinking the noise on the train, and the hum and stuff like that, I thought they're the same trains. I mean, it wasn't exactly that train, but they're the same trains. And I'm just thinking they heard these noises. They saw exactly what we're looking at. And if they didn't just see it, then they're going to see it. I said, we're in the same spot. And she said, why do you think like that? I said, because I think with my heart. My heart is telling me these things. This is beautiful. So anyway, the joint was jumping. I never expected it to be as easy access as it was. I was used to going to Convention Hall in Philadelphia. It's like the Palladium, there's seats, there's a stage, and that's it. It was, I don't even know why. I don't know if it was a permanent, I still to this day don't know if it was a permanent fixture there, but it looked like a boxing ring. It was probably used as a boxing ring, and like this. And not everybody could see them, but they moved, eventually when they were on stage. And I thought Ringo had to move. I watched him. Whoever was on first, like nobody cared. I felt so bad. I felt bad for everybody who ever came before the Beatles.
Yeah. It's a thankless task, isn't it?
It was horrible. Hissing and boo. I didn't boo. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh my God.
Get off.
Get off but I just thought, don't be mean, right? So anyway, we get in there And she asked me, she said, who do you think's going to sing first? We had pretty good seats. Wasn't bad, right? But I wasn't on the aisle. I really wanted to be on the aisle. And then I thought, how are they going to, this is when it just dawned on me. This was brand new. How are they going to get in here? They're not going to drop them from a net or something, to get on the stage. So they have to walk up one of these aisles, don't they? They have to. So you ever see the film where they're like, walking where all the people were? Insane. Yeah. We happen again through divine intervention to be on the right path. When Shell asked me, who do you think's going to sing first? I said, George. And then she said, it'll be John because John's the leader. I said, then why did you ask me? I'm telling you, I'm feeling it. It's going to be, I had no idea. And so, but before things happen, they're coming up the aisle, and again, when you watch this, it like the girls behind the barricade, hundreds of girls, 2 cops, nothing, right? These people didn't ever get out of their seats. They were jumping up and down and going like this and everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you didn't say we're throwing jelly beans, right?
Jelly beans, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't the babies, so they would have been a lot softer. But you didn't see anybody get out of their seat. Nobody got out of their seat.
How well behaved?
How pitiful.
Yeah. Exactly.
But what is wrong? I was a different breed of cat, really. But anyway, when I saw them coming down, I thought there was about 6 people to my left, and I didn't care. I was the same girls. I said, excuse me, when we had to go in and go get our seats. I'm now arm wrestling them to get. And I leapt at what I truly believe was Paul or George, but I swear it's either in my head that I wanted it to be George or it really was. I took a dive. They had little funny things on the side of the chair, and a girl had an umbrella with her. It was snowy and all that kind of stuff. And the back of my skirt got caught on it, and it ripped straight up the back.
Oh.
And I lost one of my shoes. And when I dove, that's when it happened. And just there, it was like, and then another cop, right? Okay, all right, get back in your seat, you're going to lose your, brother. So anyway, not 3 minutes after I, shoveled my way through, I am back. My hair, which was really a lot longer than this, but it was kind of like, all over the place, and my skirt was ripped. Thank God we wore slips back then. It was ripped right up my ass. It really was. Right up my fanny. And I lost one of my shoes. I did. I lost my shoe. And I get back there, and Shelley, who never curses, she said, what the hell happened to you? Right? I'm like, but then the magic happened, and I wasn't thinking about my skirt ripped up the back. I didn't care that I had one shoe missing. George got on first and sang Roll Over Beethoven. I'm like, you know what I mean? John Lennon. It was good. And they talked a lot. Like with the other 8 concerts that I ever saw.
Yeah.
Paul talked more than anybody. But, Ringo would say, now singing all out of tune and a little bit nervous, Ringo, and it was always so cute, but that was about all he did. But John was always doing his goofy hand stuff and the foot thing and all that. And George was sweet, and he was always funny. Like when he introduced Paul singing, this is off subject, but when he got to introduce Paul the first time, he sang Yesterday. And so he says, and so for Paul McCartney from Liverpool, opportunity knocks, he said. And I just thought it was so funny. He hardly said anything, but it was brilliant. It really, really was. So the night went beautifully. It was all over too soon. I mean, you go see Bruce Springsteen, you're like 4 hours later, you know what I mean? So, and that almost half an hour went by way too fast for, I think, all of us. But it was heaven. It was heaven. Now, when everybody was clearing out, and now there's people cleaning up and all that stuff, and there's still policemen and guards and stuff, I have my coat, which would cover my ripped skirt, but I needed a shoe.
Yeah.
So I asked a policewoman if she could help me. I said, I was kind of overexcited, and I don't know where it went, but it's not anywhere around like where we were. I didn't want to tell her. I took a dive, my skirt ripped up. So anyway, we couldn't find it, and we were told we had to get out of there. And I said, we're from Philadelphia. I can't walk out in the snow like this. And I just, and worse, we could get a hold of your. I said, no, a hold of our parents. They said, they know we're here. No, but it was just not possible. It wasn't. So anyway, she took us like to where the janitors were getting their yellow buckets out and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And, the one guy was a wise ass too. And then so he said, this ain't no Buster Brown shoe store, sister. Because I said, I'm really sorry. I said, but I don't care, whatever you find, I'll put a trash bag on this foot. I don't care. I need to have something so I can get home. Where are you from again? Philly, oh, I like Philly. How the Eagles doing? I'm like, please, right? So anyway, I said, can you help me? So this guy comes out with size 14 rubber boots. They're and they're the banana yellow ones. Those rubber boots, right? They're like this tall, and they had to be that long. Then I wear a 9 now, but I wore like an 8.5 shoe. So that was a little, when I would walk, the whole thing came up in the front and my foot kept moving around. And the one guy snickered, and the policewoman, she was very sweet, and she tried to hide her smile. I said, I'm fine, really, thank you. I said, and I promise you, I work at Frankfurt Hospital. I work down at the kitchen. I was so desperate. I worked down at the kitchen after school, and I have money to send these boots back to you. I promise you, if you give them to me, I promise you I will. Because what was I going to do? I had to throw the other shoe away. What was I going to do with it?
Yeah, exactly.
So they gave me the boots, and then try getting up. I know it's laughable when I think about it, but I couldn't walk, because when I first walked, I almost came out of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? The one step, it just didn't work. So I'm like, oh my God. So then I decided if I shuffled, it worked. The only time it didn't work was when I was walking up steps, and then I had to hold the back of the boot with one, and then I held the back of the other boot to get up the other step. Oh my God. So anyway, that was kind of like the best of that day, right? It was wonderful.
So you finally, you'd got to see the Beatles performing live at their very first concert in the States.
I did.
Could you hear the music?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was the screaming and everything?
This is what they always say. It was even when I went to I didn't go to the second Shea Stadium. I went to the first one, and they're always saying you couldn't hear anything. Maybe you couldn't hear a lot, but there was so many of us that were quiet because you wanted to hear what they were going to sing. But when the twang, came out for a Hard Day's Night at Shea Stadium, I heard it. And it wasn't that I couldn't, and it was a shame. They were changing cameras. I wanted to find out what happened when George was singing Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. And of all the times that they had to change, the film. But anyway, I remember it, and I wrote down in the tour book every song that they sang. That I didn't see tour books in Washington, D.C. I didn't. Maybe there were, but it just, everything just passed me by. But it was wonderful. And you could hear them, and they were screaming, but it just, it just bothers me sometimes if you say you went to a Beatle concert and you say you heard them, you didn't go. I heard them. I don't know. Maybe I was tuned in on a different frequency. But
No,
even when I said,
I've wondered if that's just sort of been mythologized, and it's just grown and grown to the stage where it was screaming and you couldn't hear anything. But whereas you can hear, because I was watching some footage of the Washington concert only a week or so back, and it's one of the things that I'd noticed watching that. And I was watching, Paul was doing Long Tall Sally, and you know where we're used to seeing them, on stage. John's there, and then George and Paul were there. But for this, Paul's at the microphone, George is over the other side, John's behind Paul, and they just seemed really animated, as opposed to just being stuck at a microphone. They just seemed that they were loving it. They were really enjoying themselves. Even
when you see them in the beginning, when George speaks, and there's John, and they were really, even before when they played, they were at that other level too.
Yeah.
But when they were talking, and like Ringo, what song was it? I didn't see it as well when it was live because of where I was and where he was. But there was a shot that was taken from the side. I never saw him bang away at a pair of drums. He was just so happy. He was, his whole body, with the shoulder and all this kind of stuff going on. My God, it was just like, it was witnessing something magical. It was just not, it just was nothing ever, and nothing ever like it again. And I went to Woodstock. I mean, I was 21. Who wouldn't go to Woodstock when you're 21 years old? Come on.
You'd have gone if you were 15.
I would have gone when I was 15, exactly. But it was like less than 200 miles away, and even though I guess I was here, there, and every, no pun intended, here, there you go. But you could, and it was, I heard Hendrix, I heard, Stephen Stills sing. And you want to know what? We'll get off on Woodstock. I'll get started. I've been up there. My friend Irene Draper came from Bournemouth, and I took her to Sun Studios. And
Nice. I've been there.
And I took her to Graceland, right?
Yeah.
And then we went up, because I told her like how beautiful Yasgur's farm was, that even though there was 500,000 people, I can't believe it. And that's what they say. I don't think it was that many, but it was a lot of people. And I took Irene up there, and there's now a big museum and all that kind of stuff. But it was lovely. I wish
she would have loved that.
I wish the Beatles had been there, but they could have, I guess. But they had a lot going on that year. But anyway, so anyway, after we got home the next week, this is what really killed me. I loved it when they got to go to Miami. You know who got top billing? Mitzi. Oh.
That's perfect timing.
So sorry.
Talking about the opening chord of A Hard Day's Night.
Oh my God, that's embarrassing. Okay, Judy, shame on you. Okay. Whoever it is, don't call me back. Wait, I'll hide. Oh, well. If it rings, they should know. I told a lot of people, I said, I got a little Zoomy thing going on. But I think that first tour, because, the August and September tour was when I got to actually see George, and my biggest misadventure of my lifetime. I've never done anything that nutso again, but I didn't need to.
Yeah.
I didn't need to. But I think that first time that they were here, when you see them up on the rocks across from Central Park, and they're like this and everything, and George was sick, and Louise was upstairs taking care of him. We all knew that. And Bruce was doing the newscasts and letting us know how everybody was. And who was that other guy I was just talking about? Oh my God.
You talk Maury or Brucey?
Who was that guy? Doesn't matter. Anyway, but Murray Kay. I try to keep him out of my head. But he was and I know he's passed and all that kind of stuff, but he was just, I don't know. Bruce was a nicer guy. Bruce even was doing introductions at Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
But I just thought he was he was the first one that said he was the fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
Murray, come on, please. So let's see, where would you like to go from here? When they were in Florida, was their first really good glimpse at Cynthia, other than when they went to the Peppermint Lounge, when they had a couple of drinks to chill out and stuff. And she looked like she was having a good time. And Ringo was dancing. And for some reason, here's another thing that I remember. The dancer he was dancing with was a girl who's probably 83 years old also by now. Her name was Marlene Claire. And if she didn't look like Maureen Cox, who became Mrs. Starkey, she just did. He was attracted to that type,
The type.
Yeah. And he was dancing. Everybody else, I don't really recall much about George. They were really focusing on John and his wife and Ringo dancing, and most of the footage that I've seen.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful. And I was so happy when they got to go to Florida. And I wish I could have gone, but I was impecunious at the time, which is like my favorite word. Every time I'm broke, I never say, oh my God, you got $58 left in your checking account. What's wrong with you? When's payday? Right? So I've opted for the word impecunious. It just makes me feel better about it.
I'm going to start using that, I think.
Yeah, I'm telling
Definitely.
you, just feel better about, like, it's okay. You're impecunious. It's coming. So anyway, I saw that Ringo had a pretty good, it was in black and white, so we didn't have color, but you could tell that he got some, sun. I could also tell that they really weren't thrilled about seeing Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I don't even, was he Cassius Clay then?
I think he may well still, he was still Cassius Clay, yeah.
Calling him Muhammad Ali, God rest his soul. But I don't think that, but I knew they were willing to do anything because it was America and they were so happy. And if you didn't get to see us in person or you missed us on the Ed Sullivan Show, we can get you in other ways. And they did. They were funny. They were charming. They were intelligent. They came from great families. Liverpool is probably one of the coolest places to come from. And it reminded me of Philadelphia because they're like a cheeky lot also. You know what I mean? They're they've got that little edge to them and stuff. And, especially.
There's a definite affinity. I could see it in you. There's Liverpudlian. It's there. And of course, no, there is a Liverpool in Pennsylvania, isn't there? So
there is. There's a Liverpool. Oh, no. I was thinking, no, there's a Philadelphia, Mississippi. I thought there's a Liverpool, New York too, I think. You know what? I always felt so comfortable there. Every time I go, I hate to leave. And even if Jerry Marsden's voice isn't playing on the Mersey all the time, like how they do in the beginning, and then it doesn't play for a while and it plays on the way back. I hear that in my head too. Every time I'm by it and I'm watching the waves, and then and I see the Liver building and all that stuff, and because the first time I went there, I went in 1965. So how different the docks look then. A lot different. But they look just like what Philadelphia docks look like because the ships all came in there too. And of course now they're, they had all the tracks and they had it was a mess in Philly. But it was a good mess. They got everything done they were supposed to. But now all that isn't anymore. They have like Chickies and Pete's and restaurants and Starbucks and bowling alleys, I guess, or something. I don't know what it is. But the kind of like that earthy magic went away, And I love the guys. So we used to drive down to the airport just to see the planes land when we were like 15 and 16 and somebody had a car and a license.
Yeah.
We wonder where they were going. Crazy stuff. But it was beautiful. And when I went to Liverpool, I just felt like I love these people. Okay, even if the Beatles had never existed for me, truthfully, and I had gone to Liverpool, I would have felt so at home. I love the food. I mean, there's no jam buddy I'm ever going to turn away, or chip buddy, or no buddy's buddy, and I have a favorite fish and chip joint. I do, right across from Philadelphia. I do. And like I'm on Lime Street. And I'm thinking, oh, dirty Maggie May, that's never walked down Lime Street anymore, right? Every time I go down there, I hear it in my head. And like, then the thrill of thrills, other than meeting you, which,
oh, you charmer.
Yeah, but we got the energy was really always good. We'll go back to Florida. Segue back to the Sunshine State. So when they were there, I knew they were having a great time, and I saw pictures, like girls were drawing huge hearts because they were way up, the hotels aren't as big as they are like in New York City.
Yeah.
And every time I see, the ladders that you like so much, the staircase, I always think of you whenever I see them. The one I took the picture of and sent it to you so you had it.
Brilliant. I love it.
I love them. And so they're drawing big hearts, and somebody wrote Paul and somebody wrote John and all that kind of stuff. And they were just nice kids. They were happy, and it was fun watching them pack up their bags. I saw that on TV, and now that's on YouTube somewhere. And I think Patty might have sent it to me. Patty's still around. She's not doing so well, God bless her, but Patty's still around. She's my girl. She's still hanging in there.
Good on her.
So yes, but I just couldn't get over that Mitzi Gaynor got the top billing over the Beatles. I'm like, Shelley called me, right? And she said, guess who's got top billing? I said, don't tell me they found out about me and they put me up there, right? And then so I said, I couldn't do that to the Beatles show. And she goes, Judy, will you please? I said, no. Okay, what? She said, 2 words for you. I said, well, I can only imagine, right? So I said, what would that be? She said, Mitzi Gaynor. What? What? She said, Mitzi Gaynor. I'm like, I didn't even understand it. I mean, she was pretty. She was a great dancer. She was a great singer, but I think Mitzi's day had passed her by, but she was probably popular with Ed and had been on the show and dancing and stuff before. And I guess they figured, why not give her a chance? But when the Beatles got to sing This Boy down there in Florida at the Deauville, oh my God. And you see that one girl, I remember seeing her. Now when I see the tape again, I remember her like the first time I saw her, when she's like, she was just being lulled to this beautiful heavenly peace, just hearing it. And they were beautiful. Those harmonies were so smart.
Oh, what a song.
I love that song. I absolutely love that song.
Yeah, great song.
It is.
Great song.
Think how young they were when they wrote that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I can't even begin. But anyway, we watched it. Ringo looked like he had seen a bit too much sun, but did you ever notice that when he's like, take a look at it's in black and white. It's a shame it is, really.
Yeah.
But you can tell. And it was almost like maybe he had a little sunburn on his back too, because,
They wouldn't have been used to it.
No, my God. I mean, even me, because would go down the shore in the summertime. And back in the day, when I was a kid, there was no sunscreen or anything.
No.
You know what I mean? So I just, yes. But they looked wonderful. They looked rested. They looked happy. They looked healthy. I was thrilled for them. I said, I hope they sell 1 billion records. Shelley says to me, like, that's going to happen. Hello. Right? I didn't say how long it would take, but I said they would, Excuse me. So that said, then the next one was taped. And then she wanted to go to see them go off when they left. They left from Florida. They went to Kennedy. They were going home. The Welcome Home Boys signs. I know they were happy to see them back. And I said, I don't want to see them. And she said, why? I said, I don't want to see them go.
Yeah.
I don't. I want to remember them coming here. I want to remember all the crazy stuff that happened, even those yellow boots. Okay. I want to remember, and I did send them back, by the way. So I said, I don't want to see them go. It would be too sad for me, really. And I said, you should have thought about that before. If you want to go, you can go by yourself. I can tell you exactly how to get there. She said, I'm not going by myself. I'm not as crazy as you are. But it was really a very sad day.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, we thought, well, they're going where they belong. They're going home. So you have to be happy for them. And they came home triumphantly.
Oh, absolutely. The whole world had changed by that point.
That's it. And nothing was really musically, nothing ever was the same again. And I can't say, I mean, I was blessed to be as young as I was. The book that is behind you, A Date with a Beatle, is exactly the way it turned out in the weirdest kind of way possible. It wasn't a conventional date. It was a joke between me and the guys at work when we used to leave work looking really nice and teenage dress and all that stuff. And the guys would say, got a date with a Beatle, Jude? Oh, look at you looking good tonight. You got a date with a Beatle? That's why the book became A Date with a Beatle. And little did I know when they were saying that to me, that some magic would arise. So I wish you happiness, joy, feel the madness, feel the joy, feel all the love. Just do it. Don't question yourself. Worry about it afterwards. Peace and love. And Beatles.
And if in doubt, if you see a ladder, climb it.
If you see a ladder, climb it. Exactly.